Would you say that it seems that the major dynamic of suffering that you're pointing at, is that second. Action happens, and then very quickly the mind claims it.
Yeah.
That claiming is obviously conceptual and energetical.
Yeah.
And you would call that the dynamic of the separate self.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so often I use the word second.
Yeah, it's great. I like second as a thought that comes after.
Yeah.
Second one.
So I call the
Second
separate
thought.
self the second, the one that's coming in after action and saying, this is me. Sometimes it's coming in so quickly, there's not even a noticing of it coming in. The second, the one that's claiming the experience, the second that's, this is me, this is mine. And so another thing I want to just make clear, and this is what used to happen here, was I thought that this was a new intellectual way of the self living. That I would intellectually get this, get it really right, and then intellectually live this. What this is the end of any intellectual living. It's absolute freefall. It's life happening. It's doing the naughty, pinching Laurent's gel when he's not looking. But there's no one there claiming it as a me anymore. So it's absolute freefall. It's not doing the right or wrong actions or being a great person or a bad person. It's living without someone intellectually claiming this. And the intellectually creates an energetic, or it's not even it creates, they come together. This person is bad, this person's going to hurt me.
Yeah. So my question had to do with you often quote like the 5 or 6 aspects of doership mechanism.
Yeah.
The way Ramesh
Yeah.
teaches it. So blame, guilt, shame, pride, and expectation.
Yeah, and the expectation is opposites, because is worry and anxiety.
Yes. And I was wondering if, because out of all these talks and all that I'm perceiving inside, it's the idea of importance. Of what's important. I guess meaningful and importance. Do that fall away completely?
It's not that you become meaningless.
No.
Yeah.
I'm saying that
Meaning, yeah.
nothing, because the second arrives with that energetical glue on top of action, the first thing that it claims that it's fucking important.
Yeah.
That goes away, or do you
Yeah.
still have popping up of importance, like this is important, this matters? Because it seems that most liberated people, although there's not really liberate people, live with some well, the word of Francis Lucille comes again, as a benevolent indifference. But it goes to our story of the gel thing. I couldn't care less about the gel, but it seems that there's a crumbling away of the values in relationship, of the value of trusting, for example. But trust, yeah.
It's really a minus program, isn't it?
It is. So all the values of the morality in which I've been totally bathed, like all my life, even if it's hidden or not hidden, now it's all coming up to be changed, because I know it's suffering, and I can intellectually understand, actually energetically understand that, well, if it doesn't matter, actually, if I don't set standards to the way a person should be or the way I should be, it's all going to be cool. Of course, the idea of chaos comes around, or like apocalypse, you know.
And their mind loves to imagine that if it wasn't in control, all hell would be let loose from like you are a bad person and you're controlling that badness.
And it's not true. I also see a shift in the. Up till now, I would go to the bitterness side of it, to the bitter end of it, meaning doesn't matter. Okay, then fuck all then, you know, and it's okay, you know. But that's still identity there. This is still like a new meaning.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is nothing has really any. When we look very close at anything, it is meaning. It's meaningless. It has no meaning.
Yeah.
A sensation has no meaning. The sound has no meaning.
Yeah. But you're not living in a new idea of meaningless
Or non-importance.
non-importance. It's just that experiencing is experiencing, whether you are a millionaire or a beggar, or you get the love, or you're trustworthy or not trustworthy. But somebody asked me recently, and it surprised me the answer that came out. Someone said, "How do I know to trust you?" And I said, "Because I am you." It's not what I meant. What was meant by that is that what was meant by that was there's nobody here to trust or not trust. That's an idea. The expectations of standards, it's not that then I'm going to be around, like, it's more than likely here, if somebody's living with me and constantly stealing, there might be a moving away from that, because suddenly there's no money left to have your food. But it's not because I'm doing that, it's just that that's the way the story works. It normally works very logically. And so the mind thinks, if there's nobody there being trustworthy, then she's going to, just from that perspective there, she's going to lie all the time. But that's the mind's imagination. You see, what's the experience more often than not? I'm painfully honest, except when it comes to gel. Actually, to be honest with you, I do things like that. Like, I broke my friend's table and then I hid it. And then they said, "Did you break this?" Man, I was going to break in it. And then they started questioning more and more, and then I just fell over laughing because I just couldn't hold it up anymore. And I was like, "I broke it!" And then I hit it. And then they fell over laughing too, and then were slightly angry.
But if nothing is important anymore, this is not important. But this is not important is another, can be another thing the mind holds on to, another identification where nothing is important.
And then what might happen from that experience is the person is very angry. You shouldn't have, angry at you, and then if you steal the food, then society has consequences. If you steal, more than likely prison will happen. If you hide someone's table after you break it, it might be anger that comes the way.
Yeah.
Well, you could also say, like, everything has the same importance. I mean, it's just the same. But it sounds really a bit nicer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really drinking a cup of tea is just as important as having satsang or going to bed for sleep or going home to brush my teeth or. It's just
as important.
Yeah, exactly. It's just as important.
Intellectually, I'm with you. When that comes up, it's stronger than the intellect. That.
I remember the Dalai Lama, like one of the first books I read, or the second books that I read of Buddhism. I remember him saying he loves the beggar, the king, his brother, like flesh and blood. He named a list of different types of people, and he said, "I love them the same," or "Love is the same." I can't remember exactly, and it's the truth. Whatever experience is happening, there is preferences, but that's different from having an idea of somebody or having a story with something and believing that one is better. That's different from preferences. But everything and everyone, every experience is loved as much as the other. Because if you're not the person, then you're the experiencing, and all of it is welcome. It's the person, that has ideas about how it wants to be, the expectations and beliefs.
But there can be a preference for some story over other stories, although you don't believe it's better or
Yeah. Like a preference for hanging out with you than being, than hanging out with someone that's talking non-stop about how bad their partner is, or blah, blah.
even preferences is not totally correct. It's just the way the flow of energy goes. Because when you go for preference, the mind comes with rules automatically. Or the end of rules, that's still a concept, you know what I mean?
It's in the moment, the energy writes in
Yes.
something that's more
Exactly.
attracted to the chocolate cake or
Yeah.
the eating vegetables.
So when it doesn't, when we stay with now, it just doesn't make sense, and we live in the absence of meaning. That's another, I don't know. But preferences talks to the past, talks to the mind about past, and then very quickly shoulds and shouldn't and this.
Yeah, but then also if you don't bring up preferences, then people, like that conversation the other day about happily eating poop. Is that they
And preference can change in a minute.
yeah.
This is why it's not preference. It's just if there's nobody here, there's
Just an energy coming up.
you don't know why you're doing this thing. In any moment, you don't really know why you're doing this. You can justify it because, oh, I like to zoom in because I prefer the way you look, but that's bullshit. This is still the mind making a story out of what happened, and the me is there at the center of this story.
But also the mean will jump back in. Another dynamic of what it did, and Lisa, or I did that many a time, of jumping back in and saying, okay, so everything's welcome. So then eating poop was. I remember someone saying to me the other day, "Have you tried eating poison yet?" It's like, then the mind jumps in and claims that anything.
Yes. It's the bitter end. It's what I call the bitter end.
Yeah.
Like, let's kill everybody.
Yeah.
But that's too. This is just do a shit.
It's trying to point out also, because then the mind takes on indifference.
Yes.
I'm going to be indifferent to everything.
Yes.
So there's still energies in a situation that come up and say chocolate cake or cup of tea as opposed to poop.
Yeah.
However, we never know. Maybe one day
Yeah.
you'll come in and see me.
Eating poop.
Yes.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But it's not you doing it.
No.
It's not you preferring it.
No.
Just life writing it right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Life writing is doing this now.